Hello and welcome to the Mastermind, Body, and Spirit Show. I'm your host, Matt Belair. Today's guest is a Maya Ajq'ij who originates from and resides in Guatemala. He was a coordinator of the Spiritual Reserves of Humanity for Central America and the coordinator of the Water Project for Central America for UNESCO. He has been given the mission by the elders to share the prophecies and teachings of the Maya people with the rest of the world. He travels internationally sharing these teachings and generating awareness and helps the preservation of the ancestral Maya tradition. He is the author of the Book of Destiny, translated to 7 languages, which speaks about the cosmogony, Chol-Ki, and the prophecies of the Maya people. He is an expert in the sacred Maya calendar, member of the Council of Elders, and organizer of the first gathering of Native elders of the Central American continent in 1995. Welcome to the show, Carlos Barrios.
Hello. It's really a pleasure to be here, and thank you for your invitation. So I hope everything we are going to speak is good for the growing and the spirit of people. That's Mayan propose, the elders Mayan propose.
Well, Carlos, it's a privilege and it's an honor to have you back on the show. We were able to speak about a week ago, but we weren't able to really just dive in to your book and your work and, deep into your knowledge. And it's such an honor to have you back on the show and your willingness to share. Do you want to give the audience a little bit of history about who you are, where you came from, and what you're doing?
Okay. Thank you again. Okay. I am original from Guatemala. During many years, I have the power when I was kid to see the future. I have my pantalla, ¿cómo se dice? Sí. Huh? Screen. My screen, so I can see the past, the future. I think, and when I lost it, because when I grow up, the people think I am a rare one. And when I begin to return to recover my vision and my power, the intuition, because I had in these days a very extraordinary intuition, though I never lost. I beginning to walk around different traditions, the Hindu, the organization like Masonry, like Rosacruz, like all this expression during this period of my life. This is the moment when they are have a fame and they are powerful. But after I go more deeper into not deeper, I have contact with some of the Sufi peoples, and they broke my mind, because they beginning to do this dance when they beginning to turn. And I was invited in a ceremony in Egypt. So they beginning to dance, and when I saw they are moving they are floating around 1 feet from the land. So for me that was something to break my all that I know, because they broke the rules of gravity and everything, and they are with the head like this and turning with very, very fast movements in circles. This is a magical dance. In this moment, I begin to think there's something more amazing, just like the science the people explain to us, like the Western education give to us. So after I have the opportunity to have a contact with some people, yoga from Hindu people, and my question was, if they are so damn spiritual, why they let people adore they like a deity? So I am completely shocked about it. But some of these yogis explain me, Carlos, you are another way. They need to be in the devotional part, and for them that's that they need, and I give. But step by step, they want to grow. But don't make me these questions to me, because you don't understand. I am very young. You don't understand. You are very proud. You are very aggressive. You need to take calm. So when I returned to my country, uh, I began to study in the university, and it was work. ¿Cómo se dice eso? Es un trabajo en el campo. In field work with a professor of sociologist, and we went to a Mayan village. In these days, they are not in from the Western civilization. They are just moving and on the Mayan tradition. I begin to talk with some of them, and I was completely in this moment, I was completely excited, because the knowledge of these people was amazing. He sing and he talk, because the first time that I saw him, he was doing a ceremony in front of a stela. A stela is a stone, a tall stone, with the glyph, with the image of a monkey. And I was very aggressive, like in these days, stupid guy, 17 years. He's doing his fire ceremony and he's asking, and I just interrupt him. And I said, why are you adored with this stone if you have your own God, who is the Hunapku, who is the God of gods, the essence of the energy of the life, and you are adored this monkey. What are you doing? He just saw me, don't put me any attention, and he continued to do his ceremony. Finally, I think, okay, this guy don't put me attention. When I begin to move, to leave, he said some words that I never forget. He said, for famous, powerful, and great like the gods they are, if they are so far, they are inutile. Inutile is that? Useless. Huh? Useless. Useless. Okay. What this man said it to me. He's an Indian. He's a poor Indian. What he's doing? What he's doing to me? What this? Yes. Can you show me? And I show. And he said, give me. And I said, nah, I am afraid. What are this guy are going to do with my mom's photograph? And he said, okay, this is your mom? He said, yes. Are you sure? Yes, it's my mom. No, sir. This is an image of your mother. This is not your mother. It's like the stone. It's the image of one of the manifestation of God. And I asked this stone, and I came here to say thank you, because they gave me the best production of my corn in all my life. And a difference for you, who you never take attention to say thank you. You just arrive to your divinities to say, please give me, oh, please help me. You never said, God to say thank you. So that's what I'm doing. And he said, okay, I'm finished. Yes, go. And I need to move. But this man himself a very good impression. I think this man is different, like other people do I know. And I went to I'm went to work with the professor of the university, and okay, that's the way that we're beginning to walk with this guy. In one day, because in these days I was a yoga teacher, and this town is very, very, very cold. So when I went to all the mornings, I wake up to do yoga in this very cold place. And one day he saw me. And he said, "What are you doing this news with your body?" And I began to explain, "Oh, this is yoga, and this position helped me, this asana helped me for this or this." I think I am now explaining it. So, okay, but he said, why do you sleep with your leg crossed and with this cold? It's better if you go to sleep in your bed and cover with a blanket because this is too cold. I explained, no, man, I am doing a meditation. Oh, what is it? And I explain, okay, meditation. I begin to explain, nah, you're not meditate. You're doing a very, very bad concentration. Meditation is to take attention of each action in our life. That's meditate. To think what I am going to do because this is going to have an answer, a reflection for what I do. Okay, and he said, why are you meditate? And okay, some days I'm going to find the illumination, the nirvana. I said, oh, that's a nice. What is it? And I tried to explain, and he said, how long is going to take you? I said, I don't know. 20 years, 15 years. That's the pen of my purpose to be clear, to be pure, to having contact with this divinity. And we went to my room and he put me flat and he beginning to do prayers and something with candles. And in a moment he touched my eyes and doing some movements in my front and he moved my eyes. And in a moment I saw the most amazing light. Everything is gold, completely gold. And this is not a color for this reality, it's another color or more intensity, and I'm completely surprised. And I'm traveling and wow, what is it? The moment he's moving me, okay, wake up, it's too late, you need to go to work. No, I don't like because it was amazing. And he said, okay, this is your illumination? I said, my God, I don't have words for to express. And he said, okay, do you have it? Yes. Okay, what are you going to do now? I said, my God. I say, do I think I don't have nothing more for to do in the next 20 years? And he began to laugh. I said, okay, that's from beginning. We are going to walk. I'm going to teach you. I take you like for say something like a disciple, and I'm going to teach you. And that's for these days. But the next events in the future was completely amazing because, for example, one day we went to a fire ceremony in the top of a hill. This hill is a short mountain. The fog is all the day, and there are not light in this place. We walk, but to 2 meters more, I can see him because he's not in the place. And I'm afraid, I think I'm the top of this hill and this guy disappear. I'm going to die here because I don't know how is the way to return. But, and I say, Don Pascual. And he said, hey, you're afraid. But finally we went to the place and he began to put the incense and all the elements for the fire ceremony. I am completely cold. You are suffering a lot for the cold. And he gave me a little alcohol and he beginning to dance and he beginning to turn. And in a moment, he make like a hole into the mist and the sun arrived to the place when we are. I broke my mind completely and say, my God, what is it? And from this moment, I beginning to be part of the Mayan tradition because I understand this is a very powerful technology and it's a very powerful wisdom. And I think, my God, I don't like to go to the professor in the university because I think that I am lost man. But it's no, this is your compromise and you need to finish your compromise. When you finish, I am here for wait for you. And I beginning to study and I explain him, do I like to do is recover my vision, recover my screenplay to see the future, the past, because I have a good experience with it. So I beginning to walk. Of course, I went to the university because that's a requirement of my parents. If I don't go, they don't support me, and I don't. I am not having this moment the enough economy to just to go to study with Don Pascual. But do I learn with him? It was most incredible things because he was one of the last people who received the heritage of the wisdom of his clan. He was part of the clan of the eagle, and this clan was in the highland, exactly in this around this small village. His name is Todos Santos Cuchumatanes in these mountains. I received a lot of teaching from this guy, and of course, I beginning to return for months or weeks every time do I for me was possible, and he began to initiate me into the Mayan tradition. What do I beginning to do to learn, and after to understand what we are doing, and a Mayan Ajq'ij, meaning the one who knows about the count of the days of the calendar, the Chol-Ki, the sacred Mayan calendar. I beginning to study with he and to understand and to learn about the Mayan calendar. And I beginning to talk and to understand the Maya cosmovision and to begin to believe into the magical things because they do the magical. They broke the rules of the establishment. They broke the rules of the everything as we know. All the scientific laws that he destroyed because he can move to one place to another in minutes. 100 kilometers in 10 minutes. He walk and we are in another place. This they do really amazing action of magic, and that's why I begin to try to learn, and I was very grateful because I received the knowledge from one of the most ancient elders, who was the ¿cómo se dice? He was a keeper, a guardian of the ancient Maya wisdom, and he teach me. He loved a lot for me because he's my ideas, my vision of life. Of course, the Western civilization vision. He was for them. They are funny. What we doing for what we are running and running to, like he said, to don't go to any place. So that's the moment where I beginning to study, and after I go deeper and each time more deeper to learn about these elders, to learn about this technology, to learn about these magical things, and for me one of the most important is the sacred calendar, Mayan sacred calendar, the Chol-Ki. Mayan people was one of the most great civilization. I think it's done great like Egyptian, like the deeper Chinese and the Greek, because the Hindu, because they go so deeper into the understanding of who is the human being, why is the reason to be here in this dimension, and of course the Mayan people was the best astrologist of the humanity. They know all the phases of Venus. They produce the most exactly calendar who everyone never use. It's most perfect like anyone who we never produce. NASA, they make another quantic calendar who is 0.024 millesimal of more exacting like the Mayan, but it's like a joke. The Mayan calendar, the Av calendar is perfect. It's completely perfect. So these people they made a big construction, a lot of construction in harmony with the planets, with the correlation, with the constellations, with the stars, and all the city was created in this correlation. For us, this thing as we call reality is produced for 20 energies, and 10 come from the cosmos, 10 come from the telluric energy of Mother Earth. This convergence produce the Nacht, N-A-J-T, who is the space and time. And this thing that we call reality exists into the Nacht. And each of these energy, that's that they study for thousands of years, producing action in us. Each day have a different energy who affected us. And each of these 20 energies have 13 degrees of manifestation. If we make a multiplication, 20 for 13 is 260. And this is the duration, the Mayan calendar, the sacred Mayan calendar. And this is the duration that we take in to grow inside our mother, with the moment was we are conceived, to the moment when we was born. And it's the moon calendar. And this is a lot of magical energies according to the human body, to this correlation. So for this to go to know about what is our destiny, we use the Chol-Ki, and we use the day when we was born, and this called, the name of this is Chumil, that the people knows like Mayan Nahual, but the real name is Chumil. But we understand what is the Nahual because there are big diffusion around the world from the Nahual. So we accept like this is another name like they gave to the people understanding. So this is the base of the Mayan sacred calendar. So.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay. I don't even know what to do with that. All right. So let's start at the beginning. You're a young fellow and you're really aggressive and you're going around trying to figure things out. You hang out with some Sufis and some Hindus, and the Sufis are showing anti-gravity. They're above the ground and you're wondering what the heck is going on. So you keep learning, and then you're practicing different things, and you are back in Guatemala and you're trying to meditate and have nirvana, and an elder gives you kind of like an awakening with his hands, and you experience something else. You keep training, you go to a temple where there's a sun pyramid, and he opens up the sun in front of your eyes, and he also disappears in front of you. And also he's able to walk 100 kilometers in 10 minutes. And you're experiencing this directly, trying to figure it out. So then from all of this, you decide that you're going to go down this lineage because you've seen enough. The only understanding, and that is some intense information to be shared, the only reference point I have to anything like that is having like a few experiences of meditation like that, but studying with the Native American elder of the Mi'kmaq, saying the exact same thing to me. He said that there's something about portals on the planet where you can just show up somewhere like across the world like that, like instantly. And this is just information that he has. It's not special. You don't. And I was like, well, do you have to like meditate or like become a spiritual being? He's like, well, do you need to be a spiritual being to take an elevator? And I was like, no. He's just like, well, that's how it works. I was like, oh. So that's some pretty mind-blowing stuff there. And if this is true, which I think you're telling me the truth from your history, and this would be suppressed kind of like ancient knowledge, what do you want to go into? Because you shared a lot there that's super mind-blowing. We could go into each of those things. But do you want to talk more about the Mayan calendar? I know that you have you're an expert in the Mayan calendar, what it is, how to use it, or in some of the things that you learned and you're allowed to share.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, I don't know if I'm beginning to explain very strong things. You make me realize it, but that's why I'm so happy to can share the wisdom of my people, these elders. They use, and for this so completely natural, because they broke this reality, this vision of the reality, and they go to they communicate different dimensions, and with this technology of they can do things that we can call miracles. So this is the importance. For them, they are a thing as they call the cloud, who is 400 pyramidal codes over us. And in this is all the information for all the beings who exist, was exist, and is going to be here. So it's all the information in this, and it's all the energy. And if you have the key to connect it with this cloud, you have all, you can do miracles, heal people, doing everything. That's not a mystery. It's just the capacity. It's a technology to connect us with this. And of course, those like you said, the Mayan Chol-Ki or Mayan sacred calendar is the basic the tool for develop ourselves, because with these 20 different energies and with the 13 as when you have your own symbol, you know what are you, what you was, what is your purpose, what is your destiny, and essentially what is your purpose of life, with all the positive and negative things you have around yourself. And that's determinate you are going to be a lawyer, you are going to be anything, a commerce man, an artist, a mystic man, everything is when you have this your Mayan sign. The people call Nahual, that's the Chumil. That is a technology with the 20, the nine, in essential, nine different energies have an action in yourself, in your life, and we can predict what you, okay, when the moment when you was born, that is the first things like the Mayan people made in the past, and now in the Mayan traditional communities, the first thing like they do, they go to the Ajq'ij, they uh, do this sample, and he can predict, okay, this guy is going to be a lawyer, an authority, a governor, or this guy is going to be an artist, or he's just going to dedicate to be an agriculture man. And this is enough. That there are not this ambition as we have in Western world. You was born for one thing, and you produce with all your happiness, with all your grateful, and you are part of the community. That's important. In the ancient times, each one was part of the community. Now, no, each one need to grow and demonstrate like we are the best one. So Mayan people doesn't, the traditional Mayan people, of course, doesn't have this, they don't have this ambition. They know who they are, and they are part of the universe, and they beginning to do the best that they are. For example, the agricultors people, they are the best ones. And the lawyer or the medicine man is not going to do a plantation of anything because it doesn't grow. They are expert for things, and this came with your Mayan symbol. So the Maya symbol give you your abilities, your problems, and how is the way to discover it, to, ¿cómo se dice para sobreponerse? Over? To overcome your problems. And you can discover whose internal powers are, what are the way for you for use it. This is for everyone, because that's not meaning if you are an agriculture, if, this is your physical part, but your spiritual way is another thing, and each one can discover and grow. So the Mayan sacred calendar give you different levels, steps of your life. When you are, what are you going to do? What is the ability? What energies come from is going to affect you? And what are you going to do to produce the best for yourself? So Mayan calendar is a gift because they give us the orientation, what we do, what are we going to do, and what's the best way. And the Mayan calendar, essential Mayan, and when I made the Mayan cross or the Mayan chart, you receive the orientation to develop your internal powers. And in essential, the purpose of your life. Because ordinarily people doesn't have a life purpose. They don't have clarity. That's the people are confused. That's the people beginning to drink, to go to a wild parties or things like this, to use drugs, because they don't have the internal power. They don't have to know what they are going to do. So this is the purpose. But the Mayan calendar give you projections and give you the key for beginning to move in this dimension, but they can open the possibility to move in other dimensions. In essential, when we beginning to make fire ceremonies and we can see this guy can do. Everybody can do it now. We arrived the 21st of December of 2012. We're beginning to live the new cycle, the new dimension. We arrived to the fifth dimension. The problem from the human was like we begin in the first dimension, and this is a period of 5,200 years when we begin to work with the fire, and it's a main energy. The second period was for 5,200 years. What's the element earth? And this is, oh, sorry. The first one, the fire, is with the female energy. The second period was male energy with the element earth, like a earth. And this is the people beginning to work the earth and produce agriculture, all these things. The third cycle for 5,200 years time too, this beginning and was female energy, and is with the air. The air like an element and produce the smart man, that's period made the mind begin to be very smart. And everything is according to the intelligence. So the next cycle, as we never cross, just some ones, was the water element. And again, it's a male energy because air was from female. And the next, we are trapped into the air energy. And everything is the reason, everything is scientific, everything is demonstration. We don't cross to the next, like humanity, we don't cross to the next dimension of the water, who is the knowledge, who is like a wisdom, who is the energy to produce. You can do everything. It's the power of your mind, but with orientation. And now, the 21st of December, we cross to the next period of 5,200, and it's not more domination or male or female. It's a mix, it's a balance. And the element to exist now is the ether. And according to this is the period of the human being can come to another dimension, another level, or can be destroyed if we don't take attention. That's that people confuse the 21st of December like at the end of the world. There's not end of nothing. It's the end of a cycle and beginning a new cycle. Of course, during this period, we are in a big challenge, and we need to take the attention, because if not, we are going to destroy the environment. We are going to destroy, like we can see now, all this contamination of the problems with the weather, the climate change, and all that, like and some people say like doesn't exist all this destruction. This is the 4th year continue, like we have the most high temperature in the world. Yesterday they announced like it is the 4th year continue. Each year is coming more hot the planet. Uh, and the Mayan prophecies, according to this, say like if we don't take attention, we are in the last chance, not the last, but one of the last moments as we can exchange if we, our vision of life, the la conducta. Otra palabra. Okay, if we don't exchange our way to live, we are going to destroy those, and we are in this danger too. It's not like a finish. No, this is something as we can perceive and we can smell. It's not necessary to be a visionary or men who can see the future. The future is dangerous. That's not meaning all humanity is going to be destroyed, but I think so. The more than 60% of the humanity is going to disappear. United Nations explain us like in 2045 there are not enough water for I think 2 billion of people or something more. And that's meaning epidemics, that meaning wars, that meaning destruction. So we are in time to exchange it, but we need to really do action. Like we talked the last time, the elder of the mountains came to us when we were doing the fire ceremony, and he said, the spirituality for these times have a new word. It's an old word, but it's something that we need to take attention, and the spirituality of these days has a name, and this is action. So, but returning to the Mayan calendar, this is a beautiful guide because we can see the cycles of the Nacht, the space and time, like this is like a big spiral, and the events return in a point. Of course, it's like when you play the song in an inferior octave, you can play the song with Do, and a superior octave, you play the same song, but this is another tonality. It's the same song. So these things exchange for the different elements. So according to this, in the spiral of the creation, we can perceive what's coming and what we are going to do. So the Mayan calendars give us a guide for this, give us the what's the new humanity, what we are going to do with our life, and we need people in this movement who doesn't go to anywhere. It's like they are not planification for the human beings. Western civilization doesn't have a planification for the humanity, complete humanity, less like a person. So that's as we like to share. We want to teach people. Like we like to the people understand what is your life purpose. That's the essential of the Mayan calendar. Okay,
Holy
that's
smokes.
who I can explain.
Well, there's so much there. You broke up a little bit at bit, so I just want to get like clarity on a few things because there was a lot there. When you're talking about moving into the new world, the new cycle, the Hopi, friends with Clifford Mahudi, who's a Zuni elder, talks about a fifth world, something similar to that. And I really like the idea of spiritual action, that you have to actually do something. You can't just observe and be a passive bystander, that you actually have to get involved to do something. There's a lot of things that I want to throw at you. So I want you to just decide what you think is the most valuable. So I'm curious about, your perception of moving into the fifth world and like what that means from an indigenous standpoint and not like the Western world standpoint. There's a lot of stuff out there about like ascending off the planet, right? Becoming light beings and all this kind of stuff. Then we have another part of it where people are getting very interested in extraterrestrials, UFOs, and aliens, and all the indigenous have that in their culture, but they see it very differently than the Westerns. So, like on Gaia TV, I've heard the view of Clifford Mahudi and David on this, who's a Mi'kmaq elder, where they talk about the blue avians and all these different races and Arcturians and things like that. But I've found the indigenous don't see it like that. They perceive the travelers a little bit differently. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about that. And then the Palenque image of that, like that guy, you know what I'm talking about? He looks like that little, if you look at Mayan space traveler, it's a glyph and he's in the rock and it looks like he looks like he's an astronaut. The other thing that I was curious about, and I'm going to give you a lot here so you can decide what you think is most valuable, the Mayan and indigenous view on God and like life and like what you guys think about that. And the last thing is Quetzalcoatl. I'm curious about him. So I want to throw all of that at you and whatever you feel you have most knowledge about or most inspired to talk to, feel free to share.
Okay, just give me a moment because I'm not sure the sound going back, but I want to ask my daughter if she understands everything.
Okay.
Lo primero que dijo él. Okay. Sí, sí, sí. Sí, sí. Que tiene un... Okay. Okay, we understand the two first questions or exposition, but we don't understand nothing about the last one because the communication is not so good in this moment.
I think the last one was about the view, the indigenous and the Mayan view on God and life after death.
Okay, great. Okay. Yeah, sí.
Oh, I also think I asked about Quetzalcoatl too. I don't know if I pronounced it right, but I'm curious about the feathered serpent because there's a lot there too, and I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, okay. Perfect. I'm going to try to... Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Are you there?
What we should do, let's because the internet's not so good, let's cut our video and then the audio should be better. So if you click that video and stop video, we should have clearer sound. There you go.
Sí. Okay. Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, as long it'll take less bandwidth, so then I should be able to hear you better. So I definitely wish it would be stronger, but I'm sure that the words are going to be the most important. How's that?
Okay, Matt. According to according to the fifth dimension, the vision of Mayan people to arrive to the fifth dimension is related to the cycle of the 5,200, who meaning the ether energy. In the fourth cycle of the water, if we sink in one sink, this sink is coming to us. For example, I am thinking, I need to exchange my computer, and in the next moments, the next days, people are offering you computers. Everybody's beginning to talk about computers. And in a moment, the computer as you like appears, and of course you need to do an exchange and to pay for this, but the things appears in your life. you think in an apple and someone coming and offering you an apple. That's like you give the order, and in the fourth dimension, the things appears to you. The fifth dimension, this is different, completely different, because if you think in an apple, you just put your hands and the apple appears. Everything is like if we produce the material things. We are in this moment a little far to produce it because we don't believe in our internal powers. That's like the sacred calendars teach you, yeah, show you what is your ability, what is your purpose to produce, what is your internal powers. For Mayan people exist 20 different senses. The five, as we know, another more like a communication, mental communication, vision, telepathy, the ubiquity to be are in two places at the same time, the continuity of your dreams to be to do one thing because it's completely. Your dreams is the guide for the reality, or the reality is the guide for your dreams. You can to transform this in just one element. So fourth dimension produce to us this ability, but we don't cross this material. We don't finish to learn, and that's as we are interested. Because after to go to the fifth dimension, we need to connect ourselves with this. The fifth dimension you can cross into the interdimensional gate doors and go to talk with the elders, with the wisdom ones who was lived for millions of years. This is the real specific beings. And this is go a little in connection with your question about aliens. What is aliens? For Mayan people, they are people for other dimensions. That's not meaning as we don't believe that they are beings who came from the space. Just the Balanev, who was the holy beings who are half jaguars and half humans, like was considered the avatars for the actual humanity. There are four of them, and they beginning to broke the trilogy, the Trinity, and they beginning to go to another expression of the reality. So, but continue. The fifth dimension is the capacity to travel into the deep of the space and time. You can talk and go to talk directly with Hunapku, who is the Kukulkan, who is the serpent with feathers, who is the animal or the icono of who represent icon who represent the evolution from the air to the sky, to the heavens. They are nine infra worlds, and they are 13 upper worlds, who we call Kaj, who is the ¿cómo se dice eso? So the states when exist the different levels of the spiritual person who has world. The fifth dimension is to really connect it with the reality, with the real reality in the states as we call Kaj, and in the states as you just live in the underworld, and you can develop yourself in the upper world. That's the purpose. There are 13 dimensions in the upper world, and there are another force who is in relation with the four corners. Total, there are 20 dimensions in the upper world, but they are parallel dimensions. The name of this one, of one of these one is Pashil, and the other is Kayala. If you see the name Kayala is similar to Shambhala, that's meaning like paradisiacal place. When they are not hot, they are not cold. There is everything is they are not a sun, but it's warm, and the fruits and everything is the most amazing food. But you can see and you can be in touch with the elders, and it is just mind communication when they teach you. So this is the estancias, the places that we can arrive. This is the different dimensions. There are 20, though I explained you, and there are more, but the human can have access to these 20. So we need to learn, and we are like a babies because we are desamparados. Okay, we don't have the power. We are like a babies who we don't have the power, and we don't understand where we are. We are like a kids that we are lost. That's the problem of the they teach us the religions who just give us the tool of the devotion, but they don't give us the possibility to grow our internal powers. That's as we need to do, produce the internal powers to grow. So this is according to the fifth dimension. The fifth dimension is really a paradisiacal expression, and each being we can be part of the creators and formators, and we are part of the deity with consciousness, because now we are part of the deity, but we don't have the consciousness. So we just connect with them when we do a ceremony, when we are about to do prayers, or when we light a candles, or we go the most advanced and people go to meditate, where we don't have this real connection. Just they can hear us, but we can hear them. So except some persons who really understand and they really listen to the elders, the superior beings. So the fifth dimension is going to give us this possibility, but like explained before, we need to cross the fourth dimension, and very soon, because the fifth dimension has a manifestation now. So that's it, according to this. ¿Cuál era el segundo punto? Okay, talking about the aliens, do I explain for us, for many of us, the aliens are beings for the parallels dimensions. They are right here and doing a manifestation, and they show us, they speak us. They are beings like us, but in a moment they represent like another configuration that's up ourselves. Like we hear about this blue ones, or the green short ones, or the one with the fish skin, or all these histories. We perceive these beings like and we give the form, because we need to understand something. We need to see something material, but in reality, these beings, they are just energy, and this is the problem. We need to, ¿cómo se dice cazar? Como cazar en nuestra mente. We need to match in our mind these beings, like something like we understand, like we can see, what we can represent. So that's that people see reptiles, like people see like dolphins, like people see tooth, giants people, or jelly people, all this energy. In essential, they are just energy, but we configure it like this, and they accept and they show us like this. They live in another dimension, the most of them. That's not meaning like they are another beings and to the other parts of the universe, that they can come here to with UFOs or any way of manifestation. Mayan people, they travel, the ancient elders, they traveled into the space, but the ships was the mind. They produce some element to move. They are wheels of, no, esos son los corredores. Corridors of into the space and time, and we can go to different places. They gave to the NASA people the maps of the corridors to go to any part of the universe. The ancient Mayan people, they went to go to talk with the heart of the sky, with the Hunapku, who is el corazón del cielo, the heart of corazón del cielo in Spanish, heart of the heaven. And they can talk directly with them. They have this ability. Now they are just really someone who can do it. And this is people that are out of public presentation because they are wisdom ones. They don't need to show nothing to anyone. It's like the Chol-Ki, the people who is like assets from India. They live here into the mountains, and they live in the fifth dimension. They can go inside a tree and mimeticate with people ordinarily arrive into this forest, and they don't eat. They drink some little water and some seeds, but something during his life. They are really big spirits. So they are the ones who teach in the first level of teaching of the wisdom one. They are the one who transmit the wisdom. So there are many ways we can cross a dimension to Pachil, and we can receive information for the ancient elders. This is the way. The alien people, we don't conceive just like people who came from the deeper of the space. It's people who live, or beings who live close to us in this dimension, just in a different reality of dimension, but it's in this reality. So they have an interaction, and many of the Mayan people, when they know, like, because they see the future, the Spanish, they are arriving 200 years before they move to another dimension, and they live in this place. And some of them, they are returning each day. So this is the aliens, of course. Do I explain you the Balaner, the Jaguars, the semi-gods? They came from Pleiades, and they arrived here, and they like the avatars for this humanity, and they're very amazing people. They do miracles, and when in the days when they came is during the last manifestation of the ice in the last glaciation, the worm 3, the worm 4, this glaciation, and that's happened around 16,000 years ago. So they came and they cleaned the environment for the mist because everything is cold, and the life return, and they teach the fire ceremony. They teach the sacred calendar, the Chol-Ki, and they teach the way to communicate with the energies and the superior energies. And that's according to for the aliens people, the aliens beings. ¿Y cuál era la última, no? De Dios. Okay. There is according to who is Quetzalcoatl. This is what I explain is the feather serpent. Like he moves from the air. That's an allegorical. They vence.
Defeats.
Huh?
Defeats.
Defeat.
Defeat.
They defeat the challenge in this earth, and they turn the flight to go to the heavens to go to another kind of life, more spiritual, more powerful. So, but this is not Quetzal. It's not just Quetzalcoatl. There are a divinity superior that the name is Hunapku. Hun is one, Ab is diversity, and Ku is heart. the diversity in one heart. That's the meaning of God from some of the Mayan people. This is the concept of the unity of one manifest of the all thousand manifestation in one heart. This is God, and the heart of the heaven. This is Hunapu. This is the creation, and they have two. ¿Cómo se dicen? Menores que dos.
Minor beginnings.
Minor divinities who they produce the creation, the formation, and they are one who is the one who gives us the life, the bowl of life, and all these beings, these gods, deities, exist in the Mayan pantheon, and they are many because there is the grandmother Ishmukane, and grandfather Ishpiakok, who are the advisor to the creators how they are going to produce the human. And they are the sons and the grandson of this couple, who is Hunhunapu, who went to the underworld to ¿cómo era vencer? ¿Ah? To defeat the challenge and arrive to the face of the earth to produce the new humanity. So they can do it, but the son of them, they was the one who went to the lords of the underground. That's not meaning demons or things like this. It's just beings who are the owners of this underworld, this manifestation. They have another rules. They have another energy that they use, who is different like we have. There are some people who believe they are in the North Pole. They are in a trance. We can go to see these beings, to see this humanity. And this is a tradition who exists in different parts of the world. So Quetzalcoatl is the deity to help us to grow ourselves, to do like we are best humans and we are right to our life purpose, para tener to have the real perception of reality. And they help us to produce our reality according to our Brian, because when I remember the teachings of my elders, and I began to read about the quantical, physical quantic and mechanical quantic, I saw they say the same thing, exactly the same examples and the same meaning. The only difference is like the Mayan give the techniques to produce the reality, and the quantic is just in theories. Like always, the science people are just checking and checking, and they lost his life just checking. The Mayan people teach you with a very simple exercise how to produce the new reality. So it's in words. I don't know if you like that we talking something more about it.
Carlos, oh my goodness. Wow. Yeah, there's so much I want to talk about. I'm going to recap a little bit. I'll send a little bit back to you and then you can kind of take what you wish. But yeah, maybe the video will be nice to us because it's better to talk to your face. Right. So, okay, there's a lot there. The thing in the other dimensional things, I've heard that before about aliens or ETs, right? We think they're coming down on ships, although there's a lot of information about that out there, but it's hard to know what's what. But again, the reference point I have is the Mi'kmaq elder, David Lombard, sharing that it was dimensional and that you could apparently it's parallel and it's on a 37-degree angle. Time isn't what we perceive it as. And so he's like, these things could slip in that way. And also reading the book Mad Bear, he talks about, he's another Native American elder and would communicate with these, he called them the little people. And he actually had a skeleton, apparently. He's like, but they live in a different dimension. Very rarely, if you see them, they're letting you see them. It's not like, they would choose that. He's just like, but he lives in harmony, and showed the author of the book. So I've heard that before, never experienced anything like that. That's pretty intense. I think that there's a few ways I want to go, and I think the most important way is, you talk about the techniques to develop the ability. So I came back from the Parliament of World Religions, and there was over 200 different religions. And I think that what I'm trying to figure out how to write it, but what you're saying is kind of accurate, where, the Mi'kmaq elder would say it's like a broker to God. You need a Catholic priest, or you need this person or that person. It's a broker to God. And most of the religions, they have a prophet that talk to God. So it could be Jesus or Muhammad or something. And then you have a rule set of the follows, and then a consequence and a reward if you do those things. And the indigenous cultures didn't have that. It was more of a all-encompassing creator and harmony with all life, including trees, animals, and things like that. And I found that of all the religious leaders I saw, it didn't they were probably good people, but I didn't see anybody that knew God. It wasn't like, oh, this person is a spiritual master for sure. They know who God is. I'm going to go pick that religion, right? It's a way and a process to better yourself. So I'm very curious about if you can share some of these techniques to develop that inner power, because you had the example where you tried the meditating, and then one of your elders came up and gave you this experience and kind of put you on a little bit of a different track. Is this inner power accessible to all people, like white people, Westerners? Is this something that's specifically indigenous? And what can we do to develop that inner power? Because in the Western world, we're very focused on materialism. Most people listening to this are probably in their car, going to work, figuring out how to make money and keep their jobs, and live their life in safety and get enough, because it's challenging just to even exist in the Western world. How do they develop the inner power to connect with nature? Can we all connect to these higher beings? And so I'll leave it there, because I have a million other things, but I think that one's important. What can we do to connect to our own inner development? And then also, if we can connect to these beings that are here to help us, how do we do that exactly?
Okay, I'm going to ask my daughter. Muy complicado, ya. Tenemos un taller. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So yes, I can say that, of course, there are techniques. That's the importance of Mayan work. We are not a religion. We are a tradition, and we are not in a research of disciples or devotees who come to us. We have a true, and we expose, and if someone likes to continue with us, they can come and they can learn about it. But it is not a religion. It's a tradition that what the elders like to share, that's all. There are techniques for develop all the things as we talk. That's the importance to do the Mayan calendar, to see what is to see our symbol, the Mayan chart, to see what is our abilities. We can produce everything, but we have some things who are more easy to develop. Okay, so that's as we need to see first and teach the people. They are not nothing like it's a big mystery. It's like they teach us and they educate us like everything is a sin. Everything is I am a freak. I'm afraid to this because the demon is come and it's going to take me. All this history. So for us, these things doesn't exist. Just exists the limitation as we believe and as we open the space. And we're afraid to grow. If I have a vision, oh my God, I'm doing what? But now this humanity, these young people are more open, man. But finally, in deeper of them, they are afraid to develop because nobody really begin to teach really, what I say this word, okay, they are not too clean to teach and to share. So this is nothing complicated, but it's necessary impeccability to teach to the people. So that's as we need to do. We have different techniques, I think so. If we do some another interview, I can share like it's possible to different people. The most simple, the most that we can do. Of course, there are some techniques that we need something more interest and we need to know who is the people and we need to share. But there are not any problem. We can share with everybody because that's the Mayan. The Mayan, like the elders asked me to share. That's we need like a humans in this moment of humanity to really share, and we don't need to use any sacred plants or things like this for open the space. We can do with our own body. Of course, this thing is a big history, but we don't need to use it. Just we can develop ourselves with our own tools, to develop. Una cosa era lo de esto, ¿cuál otra cosa me dijiste?
Y los seres, ¿cómo podías comunicarte con los seres de otra dimensión?
Okay, what we do for communicate with the beings for the next dimension is there are some techniques of concentration. We need to break the reality. We need to break because they teach us in the wrong way. They teach us in the limitation as we can do nothing. And we are guilty for, I don't know for what, but we are guilty. And they teach us in this way. We need to break with this and to learn what are we going to do. So this is to break the reality and go to accept they are another beings and we can be connected. With some candles, we can do this exercise and we can to have what is the best way to do. And as according to the symbol of each one, because, for example, some people who was born in the symbol of emotion or Sikin, for they, there is very easy. But there are other people like Khan, who they can have the energy and he can produce. They need to take care for everything, need to take care. So that like these techniques, if we don't take attention, is dangerous. Dangerous because we can believe or we can be in contact with different deities or energies or beings who not necessarily they are the most advanced. Maybe some ones who are from another dimension who are more, ¿cómo se dice? More heavy, like subtle, we pretend to connect. But it's not a big mystery. It's just the key for produce these things as people call miracles. For example, this lady who's with cancer and she go to Fatima and there's a paraphernalia about it and he need to rezar, ¿cómo se dice? To pray the rosario, to ask 900 rosarios or something like this and go de rodillas, kneeling to 9 blocks and go to cry and fasting and asking for the miracle. And in a moment, she take the water and he go to the doctor the next day and she doesn't have cancer. They call, oh my God, miracle. But it's a miracle. But finally, it's a technology to arrive to these things as we call the cloud, who have all the power. And with this faith, he was connected. This is the thing, the key. And you don't need a very extraordinary elements. It's inside you. Just clean of all that you learn and be free to be connected directly with the energies to produce the reality. So that's all that we need to produce our own reality. And this is to like we can talk and share with people to do these things for to produce the reality. And this is so very easy. I don't remember if there are another question in this.
Well, yeah, well, that sounds pretty amazing. And I think that, you know, people are definitely curious about this. And the Western way of learning is usually like, you know, you go to a class, you learn the information, and then you apply it, something like meditation or even something else. So if somebody, do you want to do a different podcast that can share some of the techniques? I understand what you mean, where you can only give beginner techniques or whatever they are, because that's where people are. Like I could only teach martial arts or snowboarding or, you know, certain techniques until you have an understanding, and then you could go to the next one. So what would be if somebody just wants to try one at home, could they apply one of the techniques? And if they want to go further, what would be the best way? And the last thing I'll share that's interesting is, again, you know, I've been studying more of the indigenous cultures the last couple of years. And my friend and current teacher, David Lombear, one of the first things he told me and on our first podcast was to do a candle meditation and to meditate on the candle. And that way, you know, if you just focus on the blue flame of the candle, you might see things flicker on the side. And that is some beings. Don't look at them, just focus on the candle. And eventually over time, you're going to start to, as you phrase it, break your reality and be able to perceive something beyond, because I think that we're locked into the five senses and we believe them to be true and we must see it. But what we know from science and our understanding of quantum physics, quantum mechanics, is we're not even seeing what we think we're seeing. It's just a projection. So then you're like, oh crap. So you kind of can't trust your senses, but the body is much more powerful and intelligent that we give it credit for. And what we're focusing on is just our conscious mind, what we can pay attention to now, which is very, very little. It's like the entire ocean and just the head of a needle. And that's our consciousness, because it can only perceive a little bit at a time. Make sure we don't get hit by a car. You know, it puts a spoon in our mouth when we're eating and maybe thinking about stuff. But the actual technology of the body is far beyond what most of us think. So I was curious if you could share maybe a technique that people could try at home, and then what would be the best way to learn more techniques if people were more interested. Is it some of them in your book, or is it something that you need training from somebody who knows?
Yes, for the moment, I think people can do in his home, not driving because it can be dangerous, is to take focus just in one thing. My elder says like we are like someone who are taking 20 different horses, and when each horse go, we return, but in this moment it's another to go, and we are just pulling horse. That's our mind. We don't have the focus in just one thing. If we don't have this attention, we can produce nothing, because our mind is going to and we are react to any stimulation. So I remember something, and my mind going in this way. What we need is to have the focus. So do I ask the people now, is they beginning to think in something, anything as they like. For example, to preserve the imagine of something beautiful for them. For example, a sunset or sunrise or anything, someone who they believe amazing, or a theater or opera, whatever. When they live like they are happy. So, but contain this imagine all the time. To contain and contain. And when they are not interruptions, and he can preserve the imagine, they given the first step. And we can continue. Just we are going to talk with you to what is the best way to do exercise with candles, not with one, with two candles to produce the next reality. And we have another things. So I think the first way like people can do is to learn a little about his Mayan chart, to learn about his symbol, to when we can see what is the possibilities of the people. Well, I think we want to talk what is the best way because there are some some link when you can see what is your symbol, so Mayan sign, and with this we can begin to teach people to learn. But that's the beginning. We can go deeper like the people likes, what the people love to do, because we are here, and that's my mission as the Mayan elders' mission to go deep, very deep, so we can discover what we are and what is our internal powers and what we can develop it. And it's not nothing complicated. The Mayan has an attitude, everything is simple. Everything is simple. More complicated, more steps, more, that's just to entertain people. And like you said, okay, you're going to give me more money for this, for this, for that. No. This is not the way. The way is to share, to learn, and when you learn, to share with other people, because that's our problem now. People move into the ego. Oh, I know this. I am more like you are, and this is not the way. The way is to be simple beings, to be free, and when you are free, you are done. No detienes, no.
You do not halt. You stop.
You don't stop the development of anyone. You share, and if you help the others, you receive more. Because if you give one hand of the one who is over there and the viene debajo,
Below.
the one who is below, you receive a hand for the ones that's out there. No, so this is to help us, to help humanity, and to help each of us, because we have a destiny, and this destiny is a question for all the humanity. It's not just my problem. I'm not going to survive alone. We are part of the earth, of the Mother Earth. We are part of the universe, and we need to grow together, or we are going to destroy together. This is, of course, the people who have the understanding and they receive more light. They got another dimension, but the earth is going to disappear if we don't take attention. And this is a wonderful place. I love this place. It's magical. I don't know if I like another part. I am so happy to be here in the Mother Earth. So, but of course, because each thing is a miracle, and we need to see these miracles, and we need to grow our spirit with all this. So that's the attention that we have, that's the invitation to work together, our own reality, but the reality for all the beings. Because I said all the beings, not human beings, because all the animals and plants are suffering our destruction, our powerful tool is completely crazy. So we need to recover the relation with the Mother Earth, with the animals, with the environment, in short words.
Amazing. Carlos, you said so much there, and there's some underlying principles I think that were important. And one of them, was just being simple, and your spiritual understanding or how you're living is to, it's not about doing these different things and adding a lot of steps and a lot of pieces of paper and a lot of stuff. It's just like you can be simple and humble, and you're more on the road to like mastering and existing in life. And I really like the other thing that you said about being in this reality and how this is, this is the ultimate reality. Some of the times I'll talk about it on the podcast or when I'm interviewed and just say, this is the reality you're looking for. I went into the, lucid dreaming, pineal gland activation, chakras, aliens, multidimensional things, astral travel. I've explored all that, and it's very interesting stuff, and it has its place, and it's good. And the more I think that I evolve, and who knows where I'm at, I'm always worried about backtracking the podcast and knowing where I was consciously, because it's growing. But the more it's becoming clear, it's immersing in this reality. This is the magic. This is where you want to be. This is the consciousness you want. And to bring more and more of your energy and your focus and your presence into each moment, and communicating with all that's around you in a very simple manner. And I think that's what you're getting at. I want to be respectful of your time, and I'd definitely love to have you back on the podcast. I don't know if there's anything else you want to share, but the last thing I could ask you a million different things, but I at least want to ask you one more, is about the pyramids in Tikal and in Guatemala. Does your history, and also for clarity, how old is the Mayan history dated that you're aware of? Do you know who built the calendars or built the pyramids in Guatemala or Giza or Göbekli Tepe? Did I say it right? I think I did. So that's what I got there, and you can add on as much as you wish. If you need to head out, you can also do that. Just those are, I definitely wanted to squeeze that in there.
Okay, Matt. This reality and all these things as we talk, they're more interesting, like to see the internet or movies. It's most amazing. We don't see the real reality is more incredible, like all these stories. So according to the construction of the pyramids, there's a big situation in this, because according to the archaeologists, there's beginning to construct around 2,000 years ago, or a little less or a little more. According to the elders and according to the archaeoastronomy, that is a new discipline. Well, it's not new, but they're beginning to use now. They see the position of the planets, and for example, in Tikal, in the Plaza Mayor, the temple of the sun project a shadow into the temple of the moon, the 21st of July, during the equinox, and the solstice. Okay. The shadow is not perfectly. These are like 10 centimeters or something more, who, according to the architects today, do the medition. They think that to be perfect, we need more than 20,000 years ago. Because they don't construct like we're going to construct. No, they are so serious. They saw the elements, the planets, and they do the orientation in essential with the Father-Son. And this projection of the shadow of this temple is moved. And they say this 20,000 years ago. So we can't confirm it, but do my elders teach me, do I believe more like scientific people? They are right. We can say like, okay, they are more than 16,000 years ago. In Teotihuacan and in Tikal and in different Mayan temple cities, there's the history of the creation with the sacred twins, Hunakush, Balanque, and it's painted or relieve. Okay, it's painted or I don't know what is, huh? Like 3D. Okay, like a sculpture into the wall. This is the history of the creation, and it's in different parts of Mesoamerica And more because Teotihuacan is over and Tulum at the same too. So the creation is related in this, and they saw in El Mirador, is a city who are not discovering but recovering now. The techniques say like this is more than 10,000 years ago when they constructed, when they do this relieves. Okay, I don't know the word, sorry, but despite this and these images in 3D, like I can explain, this is a really old ones, and it's the story of the creation. And when we are talking about this history of the creation, we are talking about 40,000 years ago. But the Popol Vuh have images on relatos, histories about the Mayan creation, who have 16,000 years ago. So it's too interesting. It's really interesting. In the Popol Vuh, you can see what's happened with Venus, who was a satellite of Jupiter, and how he moves and be trapped in the actual orbit. That's the reason, like the Venus is the only planet who go inverse to the others, and he produced earthquakes, destruction. We're talking about millions years, really millions years ago. So we don't know, but the reality, they are like a complot that doesn't explain us. For example, the ancient humanities like Hyperborea, Lemuria, Atlantis, they don't teach us nothing, because this like for magic in the last 10,000 we grow, we develop, and we arrive to this high technology. So we never saw in the 9,000 years ago, just in the hundreds we developed a big technology. Who is the master of this? Who teaches this technology? What's the moment to arrive to the fifth dimension and we begin to produce things? But we need to learn what this technology offers us and what's the other technology give to us, because the other is external. The Mayan or the ancient technology is our internal power. We don't need these tools. We need now because our brain, our mind is blockaded. But we in reality don't need it, because we can do everything as we like. So any computer can transport you to 200 kilometers from here in seconds. Or you can go in the center of the universe, because just machines. Of course, now it's dangerous because they are put DNA into the machines and they can be beings in the future. So, ¿cómo se llama? Stereoscope. Maybe this is the word, stereoscope. Okay, yeah, for example, this history of Terminator with the machines beginning to have a part of humans is like the science people are beginning to do now, for give more information, more capacity to the artificial intelligence. And we are playing in a very dangerous way. We don't say don't go, don't research, don't produce something who be in control, who really help the human beings. But they are doing things like we don't know what is the mind of the people who's created. If they have the enough consciousness to don't produce something who is to reverse us. So don't let the space to terminators. We need to do our own production of reality, of our own projection of our development of our internal powers. And it's not done so difficult, it's easy. We just need to take the attention. Like as we are going to invite our friends to synchronize next time, and we're going to talk with you to what we are going to do this.
Wow, Carlos, it's incredible. The Elon Musk podcast with Joe Rogan, he already said with artificial intelligence, it may be too late for that technology. And it just seems like the Western world, or the world at large, is so focused on the external and the artificial, artificial screens, artificial reality, augmented reality, and disconnection, and very disconnected with themselves, with nature and reality, the actual environment. People are walking down the street looking at their screens. They're driving their car looking at their screens. So it seems like we're increasingly disconnected with what is actually happening around us, and we're more absorbed into an artificial reality. And so I have heard that before through different things, that the body is the supreme intelligence. And if you think about the body and what it does, the heartbeats and the veins and all it can perceive and memory, it's a very fascinating thing. And I've always been curious about what my body's capable of, what is my consciousness capable of. But that consciousness is kind of surrendering to the bigger consciousness, because my actual consciousness can only focus on one thing. And then think a lot of different thoughts. And there might be good thoughts, there might be bad thoughts, but it's not doing much. So very interesting stuff. I could talk to you all day, and I would like to, but I want to respect your time, and I will invite you back on the podcast again to share whatever you wish. So before we close it out, I just want to give you just tons of gratitude for sharing this. And is there anything that you want to share before we end this episode?
Thank you. Of course, I like, and thank you for permitting me to be in this space. And I think I'm grateful for this opportunity to really talk and share. Because we need to share. That's the situation now. Thank you very much, Matt. Okay, and to everybody, a blessing for the elders, for the spirits. They are happy because we are beginning to share with more diffusion. That's so nice for us. Thank you very much, Matt.
Well, it's definitely my pleasure and my honor. I look forward to speaking with you again. Thank you for everything you shared. And I will be seeing you in Guatemala in like 15 days or so. So looking forward to that. That'll be good.
Great.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Okay. Okay, Vulcano.